Morning. What's up, Dirty? Just thought I would catch up a little bit. It's been like over a week now that I've sort of been away from the streams. So I thought it'd be a good time to catch up with the recent price action we've had in the last like 7 days. $25 points, nice, man. So, gonna start with good old Bitcoin. Let's check out. I'm gonna start it up from the weekly and then work our way back. So, with it, all the drawings turned off, you can see. So the green line there, that's just an alert for $100,000. We're still up. We're still going up, and the pullbacks have all been higher than the previous. So although we've spent the last like kind of week resting or pulling back off the all-time high, it's just going to be a matter of time before we re-engage and push higher, I think. There are levels that would invalidate that. A more local level would be if Bitcoin was to come down and really threaten to lose $100,000 as a support. That'd be a warning sign right there. Like, be cautious of bullish expectations. But if we go across to the daily chart now, like work our way down, so we know that the higher time frame's good. This one's not bad either. This one's got kind of it's getting a bit long in the tooth, but this is like kind of like a flag situation. I would still argue that the flag hasn't even started yet, so I'm going to gray that out actually. I'm going to make that a deeper color, and I think this is still active, although it got a nasty deviation outside of the triangle. So this is, I think this is still in play. We've come back up into it, so it's respecting it still. But there was a very, this was a very scary moment. The price pushed below this low here, so it definitely would have shook out or stopped out or liquidated a hell of a lot of people, I would say. So. Down on so we know that's sort of been the case at the moment. Like the structure was threatened on that push down to here. Let's go down to the 4-hour chart. Just want to like carve this up a bit. So there was like this sub trend as well that I was tracking, but I think that's becoming less influential to the price. And what's actually going on is this line up here. This is the more extreme highs that are coming into effect. We got like I would say there's 3 good tests of that. We got 1, 2, and then almost a 3, pretty much a 3 right there. These yellow lines here. This is a smaller time frame rising wedge that was playing out. So. Let's assume that this was a pivot, that we're getting some kind of pivot and we're turning back around. Then there might even be a case to change this to a falling wedge, which is also still a bullish pattern. Something more like this, So it's a flipper, essentially. What I would be targeting, let me just finish adjusting these lines real quick. Yeah. And I might delete this sub-trend line because it was more of a short-term idea anyway. Now, before I delete the lines, let me just show you why these green, yellow lines were here. This was like a rising wedge, the textbook outcome of a push down, and that's exactly what we got. Now we've kind of double bottomed here at 115k for now. The fact that we've gotten above this point is critical. If we're to come up and test this, you need to break the structure. You need to change the character back to an upside. So this is good. This is good. This has been resolved, so I'm going to delete these lines just for clarity's sake. We'll go back up to like the 4-hour chart, and I might even remove that gray line because that's only an if line. Like if this was to keep crashing, you'd be looking for the parallel. But for the most part, I think if we're so lucky as to get a textbook result out of this pattern right here, it'd be something like this. It'd be like breaking out. Maybe we test the underside of 120k again, get rejected, test the top of the wedge, bounce off the flipper, and then go for the all-time high. I think that seems like a kind of reasonable path. We sort of did it back here on a broader scale. Like, we got stuck in our bullish continuation pattern. We broke out initially, had to back test a couple of times, and then we took off. So these back tests are pretty common. Like, look at this one. This one also produced like a back test, although it was really scary and ugly. You broke out, and then you violently back test. It threw you back into the triangle, and then you broke out. So they are all over the place, these back tests, these deviations. Look at that deviation there. That's a deviation swing. You could argue that that's a little deviation dip below that parallel line. So just be cautious of that. Deviations, I feel, are like meant to trick you. They're meant to stop you out or hunt you. You could call them a trap, these deviations. But look at this, like, if you're taking this pivot low here as a support, like, then that was definitely a swing fail. So capturing that and sort of waiting for that to unwind and resolve itself over the last, what's that, 16 hours or however long it's been, has paid off. Because like if you got in off confidence that that level has been reclaimed, you're up in profit, and that is an alarm that I just got for XRP. The last time that I streamed was we were looking for a push for all-time highs on XRP. That was back on the 18th. I think we were here, somewhere around here, the stream. Anyway, we got it. We got that push. Oh wait, no, the stream would have been here because we were trying to capture the all-time high on stream, but it kind of, I think it faded back before it got the all-time high. But anyway, $3.6671 is the high that I've got on this chart at least. We got a really nasty double top. There was this chance that we were going to get like a big cup and handle, except the handle failed and it could not get that support halfway, the distance of the cup or whatever. It just did not hold up for a reapproach and retest of the all-time high and then a breakout. That's what you'd want to see on a cup and handle. Just like this cup and handle, you can see it here. Although this one is like slightly tilted upward, probably because of how bullish the market was at the time. That's a beautiful cup and handle right there. So this one was, this is more of a double top. That got invalidated, that theory. Now, at the time, there was like a triangle kind of play that was shaping up, which obviously has failed, but it looked something like this. Like it was you know, it looked like this big, beautiful pennant building for a nice like move up as well. So there was a few different bullish ideas and scenarios that were cooking out, but for me, the invalidation for that idea was the yellow line, like this one here. So the fact that we lost it pretty rapidly, there was no question about it. We lost it and just never even visited that line again. Was a very high conviction short that you could have taken, or closing the longs. So I was in a long from $2.92, like around here in this little cluster, and I rode the price up. It hit the high, pulled back, and I managed to, I don't know, maybe I should have taken profit or some profits up there, but I didn't. I just held in there thinking that this thing still had some gas in the tank. And then this kind of confirmed my suspicion that there was still gas in the tank. So stubbornly, I once again didn't take any amount of profit there and watched it do this and then lose that yellow line. So my stop loss was basically beyond this yellow line. Like as soon as we started to lose it, I was like, nah, this is not looking healthy. And I cut it somewhere around here. One last ditch effort of support would have come at the January high, except nah, it just cut through it like butter. So it was just all off at that point. So right now, like, we're trying to put the brakes on. We've got the $3 level. Let me just expand these away so they're not in the way. These are just alerts for when the price goes high and the price goes low that I've got in. Anyway, this little cluster here, it's like, okay, what kind of patterns can you draw? The biggest standout achievement for me is that you've got a resistance line, this white line coming down, and that was sort of set up by all of these touches up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, there's heaps of them. They're all on a smaller time frame, that line. But it linked back up again. So you had, let's just cluster that up and call it 1. We'll call this 2. And then there was an attempt at 3 yesterday. And look, on the 4th attempt, it's got the break. So far, it's looking okay. Like, hopefully, this is the point that we can pivot. Hence why I called this stream Is the Pivot In? But, yeah. Let me catch up with the YouTube chat for a bit. MG, what's happening? Anonymous, what's up? Blake, it's going well, Blake. How are you? What's up, Kellephant? Yeah, I hope this is the start of the next leg, to be honest. Like, if you want to talk hopes and dreams. What's up, Society Customs? How you going, bro? So we got 21 people. That's pretty good for the fact that I've only streamed like once in the last like couple of months. Must be a bull market. Well, right now what we're approaching the end of the Friday candle. I'm just gonna have a quick look at the S&P 500, see how that closed and how that performed today. Because that, yeah, look at that, another great day on the S&P 500. This is why it's kind of confusing. It's like, you know, why are we pulling back? Like, why is there this drawdown? Like, why do we have to do that when the stock market is saying otherwise? The stock market's saying that everything's good, everything's healthy. That was a really nice Friday, to be honest. Let me just change this to New York time so it makes sense. Yeah, Friday. I'm just looking at the dates down the bottom. What's up, Eleanor? Thanks for the subscribe there. Yeah, we got post market for a couple of hours here. I think that wraps up on the daily candle close. So 2.5 hours to go, and we'll be closing that week for the S&P 500. So it's been a really good week. Check it out. If I go to the weekly time frame, it's an all-time high pushing week on the stock market, and I'm sure the Nasdaq probably looks similar. Yeah, the Nasdaq is similar. Let me just go to this view. This is an interesting view to look at. This is like all the major indexes in the US. You can see that the Nasdaq and the S&P have gone into price discovery, all-time high, record-breaking prices. That's the old all-time high. I will move that up when we get a pivot, but for now I just want to leave it there just to see how high up we can get. The Dow Jones is knocking on the door of its all-time high. It's taken a little longer, and then the poor old Russell dragged down by 1,500 companies. It's basically the S&P with, lower performing companies thrown into the mix. But yeah, there's nothing bearish about the US stock market, which is like a pretty, determining factor on crypto, like whether crypto is gonna trend or not. It can really be like, a push and pull on it. Let me just read this. Just curious, Rick, what's your thoughts on WIF? Good question. Let's cover some of the memes. I'll do the memes first. Why not? I was gonna do the blue chips, but just like a lot of the market, the last couple of days have been retracement. Bonk and Pengu have held up really nicely in this retracement. But WIF, just like Fartcoin, Chill Guy, Peanut, Mudang, Pepe, they've all felt this 2-day pullback, and it's undone a lot of the progress. However, the overall trend upward, that what we thought was the beginning, and probably is the beginning of alt season, is intact. So if anything, if that is the case, this pullback was a buying opportunity, to be honest, for a lot of alts as well, not just WIF, but a lot of the memes. If I go to high time frame, WIF has so much potential above it. Like, it's achieved these all-time highs at lower total crypto market cap. The total crypto market cap is way larger than when WIF did this. So is there enough money in crypto to do another all-time high push again on WIF? Yes, there is. Definitely. There's enough money in the system. The challenge is that it's sitting in these guys at the moment. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana. It's still in the blue chips, so that money flow has not gone into the ultra risky or the meme coin market. So it's just a patience game, I think, with these. They're just waiting for their turn, essentially. So scalping it though, like, there's still, like, if you're an intraday trader, these things still move really nice percentages to get trades off, especially if you're playing leverage. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a bit of insight into what I'm thinking, at least. So this is the top 16 cryptos. We got, Bitcoin running all the way through till Litecoin. Some of these sort of trade places, like trade positioning along the way. I know that Solana and BNB definitely take turns in fourth position, but yeah, that I think there's more potential for performance out of the next 8 of the top 16, naturally, because their market caps are lower, right? So you're going to get more action. A good example of that is XLM. XLM has been performing stronger than XRP, even though XRP is the higher market cap, bigger crypto, right? Naturally. So that's just the way that is. XRP is like it's kind of like a like a by association trade to XRP. If you hate XRP fundamentally because you think it's a banker's coin and all that, you could trade XLM, because XLM will feel the benefits of any kind of XRP performance and some. So XLM's a cool pair to trade. XLM USD. But let me have a look at XRP again. I know we've sort of already covered it, but just wanted to see if it's going to crack this $3.15 level, because that's the level it hit yesterday, right here. So this high is kind of holding it in place right now. We haven't quite managed to get that breakout and, like, you know, reappreciation of price. But that will hopefully come with the rest of the market, like the rest of the big top 8. We need Bitcoin to continue moving higher. It would be nice to at least see Bitcoin test the top of this wedge. You know, that would certainly green light the rest of the alts to get some further recovery off the pullback they've had. So yeah, it's kind of covers what has happened since the last time I streamed. I think BNB got an all-time high as well recently, but just like with the XRP, it got the all-time high, but barely any price discovery. Like, I think it's still waiting for its big moment. So technically it's had an all-time high, but there's nothing wrong with BNB right now. It's marching on up, and I think provided that the crypto market doesn't pivot and go into a bear market tomorrow, this is looking like it'll continue to test the highs and then eventually get like a nice price discovery move like XRP had. XRP had one of those recently too, as you know. Let's see where that is. So the old high for XRP was here. You could even argue that the price discovery for XRP hasn't even really happened yet either, because look, this is the diff from here. So from down here to up here is the distance of price discovery that XRP got. That's very, like, it's very tame. It's not very exciting, to be honest. Although the price level's exciting, and getting there was exciting, but like a 7.5% price discovery for, you know, I don't think it's done yet, is what I'm trying to say. I think there's more action to come, and whatever pullback we got was just in kind with how Bitcoin kind of fell recently from here and came down. So that's my sort of idea on it. That's my take. Well, we still got a couple of hours left before the daily close, and then we got the good old boring weekend where Bitcoin goes into sort of like a sideways range or a coma, and the alts can pop off. So these low cap meme coins, or some of them are high cap, to be honest, like Fartcoin's pretty high cap, same with Pepe. But these might have a chance to do some recovery off the bleed out that they had this week. That could be tradable. Like, that could be very profitable. Peanut is in an inverse head and shoulders right now. You see that? That's on the hourly time frame too. So it's not some small chart. This is like a nice medium chart to take a signal off, and it's kind of threatening to break out. There might be a few that look sort of like that. WIF doesn't quite have an inverse head and shoulders. Maybe if you really squint, you can try and say that that's an inverse, but yeah, I think the Savage, unless this is some kind of just bearish consolidation where it consolidates and then drops again come Monday morning or something, Yeah. Hopefully it's a pivot. It's either a pivot or a continuation at all times. I know that's not rocket science, but Dogecoin. Yeah, let's look at Dogecoin. It's been a while. Where's my chart that has all the drawings? Is it this one? No. I'm gonna find it. Give me a sec. That's the one we just had. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, this one. Okay. So let's start on like the weekly. That beautiful Doge, like multi-year accumulation zone has been left in the dust for now. We've had a couple of deviations. This is when Elon Musk bought Twitter and turned it into X. Doge seemed to like that and pumped. But yeah, for the most part, found itself back in the accumulation range. And then yeah, this was that kind of early like Q1 breakout. What was this, March? Yeah, March. So Q1 of last year, there was this like kind of precursor move felt across the alts, especially Doge. Shiba felt it too. But then we spent the rest of the year in a falling wedge. And then popping out of the falling wedge was the end of Q3 into Q4, which was the US presidential election. And then, this was the election result candle, that huge tall one. Probably one of Doge's best candles ever. At least in recent history. And then it followed that up by 2 more, or arguably 4 more green weeks to take it almost to 50 cents. Now, since that high, it's been devastating. It's been like, the whole Trump tariff situation. The alts, like, the market was just not ready to maintain levels and keep going. So very, very crazy crash, peeled back all the way, almost, back into the accumulation zone. So if you're a Doge believer, this was a huge opportunity to get in, not only once, but like twice, because there was this kind of like rebound rally, bit of a dead cat bounce. And the whole shift down, let's go forward. The whole move down, I found, fell in a channel, like a really broad channel like this. You can see there's like some parallel lines that track the lows and the highs. But if we zoom in closer, the approach back to the top of that channel produced a really nice bull flag right here. It was like textbook. It was so clean. I mean, you don't get more clean than that. And then it just broke out, got the bounce off the flipper style move, and then got this huge rally that went up to like almost 29 cents. And we're still in an uptrend off it, by the way, because you've got this high, you've got a pullback to low, you got a higher high, and then you've got a higher low, if this is the pivot. So we really hope that this is the point where prices stabilize and we can march on higher on Dogecoin. This pullback's very violent, but that's because this is a meme coin and they don't tend to hold ground the same as other like higher cap coins. Like, Bitcoin still has its drama. What am I saying? But let's see if this was any kind of fib level, by the way. We'll check 2 of them. We'll check a starting point here and then a starting point here, and see if this bounce was any kind of like, fib level to check. Okay, so on this leg, it kind of looks like a 0.618, a golden ratio test. And then if you take it here, it's probably like a 786. Yeah, if you take it from these lows here. But either way, yeah, I mean, from a Fibonacci perspective, this is more than valid of a level to pivot from and then recover the drop, I think. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing on Doge. Everything's still okay on Doge. It's you're either long from in this setup or like from this accumulation area here, and you're just waiting for the, you know, the next leg, or you've positioned recently in it in here, and your stop loss is like, you know, on the continuation of pullback. Like if it was to pull back, that would be where you would want to get out, because that invalidates any kind of bounce. What's up, Echo 1004, my favorite Aussie crypto down under. Thanks, bro. Static here. Yeah, so that's Dogecoin. Big picture Dogecoin. Let's go like macro, like super macro, because I want to talk like potential. All right. So this is like one of the more high time frame charts for Doge. The weekly. So there was like a channel that's been in place since, you know, all the way back here. This is like 2014, and it's been kind of scary because we've been threatening to lose that parallel a couple of times here. We're actually underneath it right now, so that's kind of scary, at least on the logarithmic chart. From a linear perspective though, it's all good. We're all good. The all-time high is all the way up here. Let's just add that in. Go text, ATH, and we'll go like that. Okay. So 70, just under 74 cents on this chart is the all-time high. From here, that is a spot return of 214%. So that's pretty decent. It's not bad at all. Even just a recovery back to this current cycle's high here would get you a decent return as well. What's that like? Almost 100% or something? Yeah, 103. Not bad. That's that's incredible performance. If you were to ride that. But like I was saying earlier, we need Bitcoin to carry the torch in a way, and we need the dominance to fall. So, you know, there could be a little changing of the guards, so to speak. You've got money flowing primarily from Bitcoin into Ethereum, and when that happens, you get your alt season. So when you get a transfer of the capital from Bitcoin into ETH, the rest of the altcoin market thrive off that. And that's been happening, by the way. Look at the dominance. The Bitcoin dominance has been falling. And, you know, the recent pullback we had was thanks to that, like a reclaim of dominance from Bitcoin. So the altcoins, you know, someone rocked the boat and we got a bit of a push back up. But let me go full screen on dominance. Go on the daily chart. You can see where this was the November like mini alt season that we had. It came down and visited the bottom of the channel. But for me, things aren't truly gonna get exciting until we lose this ascending channel. Like, so if we can get dominance to fall below 60%, then it's really game on for the altcoins. You know what I mean? And I think a region that you would want to start considering taking profits on your altcoins would be when Bitcoin dominance gets down to about 45%. So historically, that's where, you know, the alts sort of tap out. Yes, there's some pushes beyond that point, but you want to start thinking about it at 45% dominance, because that's when the lows will start to sort of come in, at least historically, right? I don't think Bitcoin's ever been less than 35% dominant, but that's an extreme right there. The lowest, yeah, 35.41%. So that is kind of like a little blueprint to the alt market, to the altcoin season, is when dominance drops. So yeah, the journey between losing this channel, so from here to, let's argue, like, it starts here, but it might even might punch down into the low 40s and even the high 30s. But yeah, basically from here to here is alt season, when dominance does that. So arguably alt season has not begun yet. It's getting exciting because, you know, of the drop on dominance, but we're still in this channel, and it could very much find support here and then give us another leg up in dominance, which we don't want to see if you're in alts. But yeah, just be aware that that could happen on the dominance chart. This, like, let's check out these. Like, this was a channel on dominance that happened. It was shorter lived. This one's been like crazy long. But yeah, look, once it dropped out, it was this rapid drop, and that's because the altcoin market was booming at the time. And that's the alt season. There was maybe another channel that we could look at. Maybe like this. Something more like that. It's not very clean. God, there's a lot of drama in that channel. Like, there's a lot more range. Like, there's the change in highs to lows is way bigger than right now. Right now we got like this tight channel. You know, it's a lot narrower of a band, but it's been respected, which is, you know, why Bitcoin's been able to get up to like $123,000 as an all-time high. Yeah, it's kind of what I'm getting. Well, I think that pretty much covers it. That covers where we're at, where we're going. ETH BTC, so this is ETH taking the market away from Bitcoin. So, you know, Ethereum stealing some of that liquidity. It's in a giant falling trend. And if ETH BTC is able to get a breakout, I mean, it's coming up on an apex. Something has to happen, you know, before the end of next year. Something has to happen with Ethereum. It's either gonna, you know, fizzle out and just fall through that idea entirely, or we get a massive Ethereum breakout against Bitcoin. And, you know, this is where ETH goes up to like, you know, 6 grand, 10 grand, and whatever, like, you know, you name it. Whatever bullish targets you have on ETH, like, that could be the moment, like, where it finally gets that breakout of this trend, this downtrend. But yeah, things are like the potential. Can you see the potential? The potential of growth, like if it gets the breakout, the dominance, like losing that channel. There's so many more things still yet to play out in this cycle, I think. Could they all fail? Yeah, totally. Like, we could bear market tomorrow, but the likelihood of that's low, very low. So I'm not going to like really talk about that as a possibility. But you know, any market at any time could always crash, right? That's always possible. But if things remain on the behavior that they've been on, then we're looking good. There's still market to be had for the rest of this year, I think. And while I say that, XRP's still trying to hang in there. Let's go down to like the 15-minute chart. Yeah, we're still up in this, we're still trying to fight to keep this recovery on track. Let me read some of these comments again. Smash the like. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Anonymous. I was gonna say LFG. Jesse, it's so good to see you here. Missed you, girl. What's up, Jesse? I didn't know there was a Jesse. Who's Jesse? Is that who MSJS is? Nice to see you here. Feel better hearing this voice. Thanks, bro. I'm just assuming you're a bro, Echo. Maya 2021 spring. If you mean like a Wyckoff accumulation spring. Ah, Jesse Bent. Yeah, gotcha. Nice. What's up, buddy? What's up, bro? Yeah. This could be like I mean, it seems to be doing like a nice spring. It's rebounded off this this pullback. If you know, I'm not a massive Wyckoff accumulation or distribution analyst. Like, I don't focus on that, but I'm not saying that it's not relevant. It's probably, you could apply it to the Bitcoin chart right now. But yeah, I know that on the accumulation schematic there is something called a spring, which is where it dips deeper than the rest of the accumulation, and then you sort of recover like quite rapidly out of it. So could that be this moment? Yes, this totally could be that moment. It could be a spring. Look at the spring we had over here. This was back in June. Had this huge dip, and it sprung up, and that was like quite a deep push. That people were starting to get scared there because we were losing 100,000 again, only briefly, but yeah, we did technically do that. Now, there was another spring last year in the huge mega structure that we were in all of last year, which was this one. I don't have the lines turned on for it, but it's basically this falling broadening wedge thing was some kind of accumulation schematic, because look, there's a spring in there too, like right there. So there's a spring. Here was a spring. This was more of like a double bottom. So by the way, there is a fractal playing out. There's a fractal idea on Bitcoin's daily chart that I might be able to bring down to the lower time frame. And I'll show you why in a sec. It's this W with a lower low on the second low. So if I go like that, and then we come down to, let's go down to like the, I gotta shrink it though. Let's bring it down to the 15 minute. Is it gonna show up, or did I lose it? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Just bear with me. I'm gonna try and frame this up correctly. Actually, Bitcoin's not getting a lower low on the W. Getting a higher low. So anyway, V-shaped recovery is on the menu for Bitcoin, I think. You know, if it can do something like that, that would be epic. These W's, man, these double bottoms are beautiful. I love seeing them. Something like that, you know? And that's just a fractal pulled from a higher time frame, the daily chart. So hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen, because we could get that full recovery of this dip. See, this dip was confusing as hell because there was no reason other than the fact that, yeah, maybe it was just like a technical, like, oh yeah, we're just visiting the bottom of the wedge, whatever. But the stock market did not say that it was bearish or anything like that, you know? So it was confusing in that sense. Global money supply, M2, is still like up and to the right. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days. Let me see if I can find an M2 chart. I know there's an account on X that talks about M2 a lot, so I'll find their latest post. Let me just say M2 liquid or money supply. M2 supply, I'll put. See if we can find a drawing. All right. 12 hours ago, global M2 money supply hits a new all-time high. Let me show you that. Boom. Total, so this is all the money in the world, basically, the supply of money, fiat currency. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with what it's been up to. Like, it's still marching on up. Well, this is a huge time frame. This is like multi-year. So let me find one that's a little bit more just the here and now, like the recent one. Okay, I'll bring this up. Let me just bring this across screen. This is my X view. But this guy here, Colin Talks Crypto, he's always
to come up is this debate about.
So Bitcoin's the orange line, M2's the yellow. You can see M2's all the way up here, and we're only down here. Alright, this could be an old video. This is saying... This is before May. Okay, well this is an old one. So we should be a lot further along. I don't know why this is coming up in my feed then, if it's an old video. Let me see. Yeah, April 23, that's the problem. Let me see one of his more recent posts. Okay, July 12, that's still kind of old. Yeah, he hasn't really got anything too recent about money supply. Maybe he abandoned the idea. Okay, July 12, that's the best we got. But look,
Crypto.
We're still
I wanted
on
to
it.
drop a video.
We're still on that pathway up. We'd be somewhere up here now. What are we late? We're late July, so we're sort of money supplies up over here. There's still this, you know, August, September. Oh, it's a video, that's right. We've still got this section here on money supply, which is all of August and all of September of up on money. So there's nothing wrong with money. That's a good headwind. The stock market, another good headwind. There's nothing bearish there. There's nothing to say, sell everything and run. So yeah, you either got faked out or you got bear trapped in the most recent pullback, by the way. That's my opinion. So this was a dip to be bought. Not financial advice, but that's what I'm sort of seeing. Anyway, I hope that covers it and hope that catches you up with what I'm thinking. Nothing too complex about it. Never long and again. I gotta play that. That's a good one. Hopefully, maybe Qui-Gon's tuned in and he'll hear it.
Dead cat. I've never seen a cat more dead. I mean, there was one time on the side of the road, I was fucking walking home from school. Guys, this is bad. No, no, I'm never fucking longing again. Fucking longing again. Fucking again. I should have been short. I'm never fucking again. Fucking again. I'm never fucking longing again. There's no way. It's fucking never again. Fucking longing again. Fucking again. I'm never fucking again. Fucking again. This fucking thing finally bounced. I'm never fucking longing again. Never again. Bear market vibes to the max right now. I'm getting ripped on spot too.
Read like a channel. It's going up. It's obviously going to keep going up. Everything's right. When all the stars align, it's held in a way. It's easy. You know, it's not even complicated. It lines up in a particular way. I can't even remember, I'm so confused. Could go up or down. We'll find out at that moment, you know what I mean? The trade's on, you know what I mean? Maybe even 8 hours away from that move, honestly. If this keeps going up, I'll definitely buy in, you know? That's how I roll. There is like a channel. It's going up, it's obviously going to keep going up, everything's right. When all the stars align, it's held in a way. It's easy, you know, it's not even complicated. It lines up in a particular way. I can't even remember, I'm so confused. Could go up or down. We'll find out at that moment, you know what I mean? The trade's on, you know what I mean? Maybe even 8 hours away from that move, honestly. If this keeps going up, I'll definitely buy in, you know? That's how I roll.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. I will. Let's see when the next time I stream is. Hopefully, it was what, just over a week since the last one. So, yeah, we'll see. See how we go. All right, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good weekend.